Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for this webinar session titled Navigating the U.S. Immigration Journey for Nepalese RNs. My name is Ron Hoppe. I'm the president of WorldWide HealthStaff Solutions, and I'm very pleased to be joined today by Mr. Kailash Upadhyaya, and we'll look forward to introducing Kailash here more properly in just a moment. For those of you that are joining us today, again, welcome and thank you for taking the time. Couple of things just before we get started to ensure that everybody can get the most out of our time together today. The first is on your screen, you will see that there's a chat area or a chat icon. Couple of things. Just as we're getting started, we always like to ask everyone just to check in with us on the chat. Tell us where you're joining from. We're always interested to know where our guests are joining us from. So please feel free to use the chat. Say hello. Let us know you're here. Let us know where you're joining from. Secondly, the chat feature on the webinar today is also how you can share your questions with us. We want to be sure that we are able to provide you with useful information, practical information. And one of the best ways that Kailash and myself will be able to do that is through an exchange of questions and answers. So as we go along, if you have a question that comes to mind, please put it in the chat feature. And one of our colleagues will continue to monitor these questions. And after we've completed our short presentation, we will turn the rest of our time to responding to as many questions as we possibly can today. One other thing just quickly before we get started, and that is for everyone that's joining us on this webinar presentation today, as well as everyone that maybe has registered but isn't able to join us live today, please know and please be watching your email because you will be receiving a recording of this presentation within the next 24 hours. This will come to you in the form of an email with a link to a recording of today's session. Please feel free to reference that link and to review anything that might have been discussed here today. And also feel free to share that link with any of your nursing friends or colleagues that you believe may be interested in what it is that we're going to be discussing here today. So with that said, I'd like to take a moment and invite my colleague Kailash. Kailash, thank you for joining us. It's great to be with you. Take a moment, please, and just share with our guests today a little bit about yourself and the organization that you represent, and then we'll jump right into our presentation today.
Okay, thank you, Ron, for your nice introduction. I actually represent NCLEX Preparation Center, Nepal. My name is Kailash Prasad Upadhyaya, and I'm the immigration consultant here. To talk about NCLEX Preparation Center, Nepal, it is one of the oldest NCLEX Preparation Center, Preparation Center in Nepal, and we've been in business for more than 19 years. And we are the one and only NCLEX mock test center in the world, and we have helped over 7,000 nurses for their NCLEX till date, and we have been able to maintain a very good pass rate of NCLEX students. All due to our, dedicated dashboard containing all the great online tools that the nurses can use to pass NCLEX easily. So I'd like to express my gratitude towards Ron and WorldWide HealthStaff Solutions for letting us do this joint webinar together. With our history with WorldWide Health, we have been in touch with them since 3 years, and we have been able to help many nurses achieve their dreams in the US, and we have been really having a very pleasant relationship with WorldWide HealthStaff Solutions, and I hope that this webinar is going to help you get some important information regarding your journey to the US. So that's all I want to say.
Okay, Kailash, thank you. And I would certainly echo your comments about our teams working together. So with that being said, let us move forward. And we've prepared a bit of a presentation that we'd like to share with you today. Again, as you have questions, please feel free to enter those into the chat. And we'll look forward to answering those after we get through our brief time of presentation. Kailash, I think this is probably one of the more important topics that we're going to speak to today, and that is, what are the educational requirements that a Nepalese nurse need to have to move forward in the process of migration to the U.S., both in terms of NCLEX and immigration. So Kailash, I'm going to turn it over to you. And if you could take a few moments, I know there's different levels of nursing education in Nepal, but if you could take a moment and just walk our guests through this very important first step of understanding the level of education that is required.
Okay, thank you, Ron. So basically, in Nepal, there are two types of nurses. There are two types of pathways in education for nurses, which is like one is proficiency certificate level in nursing, which is like a diploma in nursing, which is for 3 years. But usually the nurses they enroll in this course after they complete 10 years of schooling. So that is one pathway, and the other pathway is the Bachelor of Science in Nursing, which the students do after getting their high school diploma, which is like 12 years of schooling. So there are two pathways there. The minimum required education for immigration would be proficiency certificate level as well as Bachelor of Science in Nursing. But those who are currently holding the proficiency certificate level in nursing, they may face issues if they do not get the high school equivalency, which is the GED. And those nurses who have the GED as well as the PCL degree, they are okay to move forward with their dream to the US.
Okay. So when somebody first contacts your office, is this then the first step that you would do in evaluating their application? Would it be reviewing their educational background?
Yes, of course. So what we do is, like, those who come as a PCL nurse, we tell them they need the GED as well, specifically if they are applying for boards that require at least 12 years of schooling before the nursing education. And but like for some states like New York or Texas, they don't really need the GED at first to give the NCLEX exam. But after giving the NCLEX exam, they might have problem with the I-140 or other processes in immigration if they don't get the high school equivalency. So
Okay.
what we tell them is that you need to have the GED if you want to process forward, and we guide them in that manner. Yeah.
Okay. So it's possible that somebody in Nepal may have taken a nursing program that meets the nursing educational requirements, but not having a GED means you wouldn't meet sort of the underlying prerequisite in educational requirements. Would that be a fair assessment?
Sorry, I didn't get you there, Ron. Can you repeat it, please?
Yeah, sure. So what I hear you saying is that the GED for some applicants is very, very important, even after they've completed their nursing education in Nepal.
Yes, true.
Okay. Just for my own curiosity, Kailash, I'd be interested to know, of the number of nursing graduates in Nepal currently, what level of program are most of them graduating from?
So right now, Nepal government recently declared that those nursing colleges that do not have their own hospitals, they are not allowed to, run any kind of nursing programs. So basically, many colleges running the PCL nursing programs have been decreasing nowadays, and more, more and more students are trying to get to the Bachelor of Science in Nursing program nowadays. But to look at the overall scenario, we do have a lot of PCL nurses graduating every year, and still there are a lot of colleges still running those that program. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. So first, most important thing, Kailash, when someone comes into contact with your organization is a review of their educational requirements. And would it be accurate to say that GED is always required? High school graduation or GED?
No. Only for the PCL nurses, it is a necessity if they do not have the high school degree. Diploma.
Okay.
Because those without 12 years of schooling, we have been facing problems with education equivalency, even with USCIS. So that is one important thing. One important thing that the nurses must know is that if they are PCL nurses, then they should. It is compulsory that they get the GED, so that there will be no problem in later on. But for BSc nurses, it is not a problem. And even for those nurses who get Bachelor of Science in Nursing after PCL nursing, which is called Post Basic Bachelor of Nursing, those are also okay to proceed without GED.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you for that clarification. All right. Once it's been established that an applicant does have the appropriate educational credentials to move forward and to be successful, Kailash, as you said, both with the exam and with the immigration process, the I-140. Next step after that is the NCLEX exam itself. So can you take a moment and just walk our guests through why NCLEX is so important? Just maybe a brief overview of the exam application process, and then maybe just speak to where the nearest NCLEX exam center is for nurses in Nepal.
All right. So NCLEX is very important for Nepalese nurses to get if they have the dream to work as a registered nurse in the United States mostly, but it is also accepted in Australia and Canada. And the process would be that, first of all, they would have to join our program. We give them the preparation program as well here at NPCN. And if after they join the program, what we do is that we start the CGFNS process to get their credentials evaluated. And after the credentials get evaluated, we choose the kind of board. We choose the board while we apply for the evaluation. And then after the evaluation process is completed, we apply them for the specific board that they applied CGFNS for. It is like, since CGFNS can take anywhere between 3 to 6 months mostly, but sometimes it may take longer. We don't start the board process at first, but it is different with different states. It depends on what states they are applying. And for instance, if they are applying for a New York board, then they don't even have to go through CGFNS at first. The process is that to go through CGFNS and then to apply to the board, get board approval, and then they can move on to the Pearson registration. And after that, they can get the authorization to test, and then book their tests and give the exam. And regarding the nearest NCLEX exam center, we do not have the exam center here in Nepal. So there are numerous exam centers in India, and it is quite easy for a Nepalese nurse to get to India because it is our neighboring country. It is a country with free borders, so we don't even need to apply for a visa to go to India. So it is not a big, huge obstacle for them. They can easily go to one of the test centers in India and give the exam.
Okay, very good. So, in your experience, Kailash, from the time that someone first expresses an interest in wanting to take the NCLEX exam, what's the total time that you see it normally takes for someone to go through the CGF&S credentials evaluation, the NCLEX application, the preparation program with your office, through to writing the exam? Generally speaking, how long do you see that process taking?
So once they register with us, we if things go smoothly, then it does not take more than 6 months for them to get approval from most of the boards to take the test, and it depends on the nurse whether they have done their hard work or not to be able to give exam within 6 months. But most of the nurses who enroll with us have been able to achieve that goal.
Okay, all right. So generally, it can be done in as short as 6 months. On average, how long would you say that it takes for the average?
It depends. It depends on CGF&S actually. If CGF&S takes more time, then it could take up to 8 to 12 months for that. Yeah.
Okay, so 6 to 12. It can take 6 to 12 months just to get to the point of passing NCLEX.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, I would. That's been our experience in other places elsewhere. Kailash, take a moment. I think it's really important that our guests today have an opportunity to learn a little bit more about your organization. Just very honestly, here at WorldWide HealthStaff, we're contacted very frequently by different individuals and organizations in Nepal, from Nepal, claiming to be the best, the biggest, all those things. But we're here today together with you because of the relationship that we have established with you and your team. And I think our guests would benefit from just learning a little bit more about NCLEX Prep of Nepal in terms of your experience, your success rate, and why your program is different and something that everyone should seriously consider.
Okay. So, in full honesty, there was no NCLEX, no one doing NCLEX till 2004 in Nepal. And we were the first to open up the NCLEX Preparation Center in 2004 with the help of one American nurse named Shirley Evans. She was the one who basically got the program to Nepal, and most of the credit goes to her for this establishment. And what we pride of is our, the most important thing that we offer to the nurses is the dedicated dashboard through which they can access the various online tools which they can use to, make it more easier for them to pass the NCLEX, which includes, online classes 3 times a day. Morning, daytime and evening time, and then the ability for them to get access to the recorded classes, and even create a playlist so that they can get a kind of help in their revision and other things. And then we also have the online process tracking system, which helps them to know at which stage they are in currently, and with one click they can know like what is happening with them with their process. And then other things that I would like to add is that we are the one and only mock test center in the world for the NCLEX. So most of the nurses who apply through us get the ability to give unlimited mock tests, which helps them to predetermine whether or not they are going to pass the actual test. So yeah, basically, uh, all of these, technology that we're using has helped a lot of nurses to pass NCLEX in their first attempt, and we are proud to say that we have maintained 95% success rate for passing NCLEX on their first attempt. So yeah, that is what we do, and that is why we are different from others, because the tools that we give to the nurses, the tools that they find here, they cannot find anywhere else in the world. Ron.
Yeah, very sounds very, very impressive indeed. Having that type of a pass rate, Kailash. The data is available on pass rates, and on average, the pass rate is much lower. It's much closer to 50%. To what would you attribute your very high success rate? What is unique about your approach to NCLEX? What is unique about your content? How is it that you get such extraordinarily positive results?
The reason is that we have been in the business for a long time, so the resources we have, the kind of materials we have, and the kind of team we have, who are working to produce the kind of materials needed, is exceptionally wonderful. I would have to say, because what the team that we have here works on various different kind of field. Like there, we have like 5 people just working for entering the new questions for the mock tests. So we get updated all the time, and we keep updated information. And we have employees who are working full time to increase our resources. And I think that is all because of teamwork. Because we have a very nice team, we have great tutors and a great team that gives a great content to the nurses, so that and the ease of use of our dashboard is also another thing. Nurses can easily learn how to use that, and they can stay at home and prepare themselves easily without giving too much stress.
Okay. Very good. Sounds good. All right. Now, I'd like to speak for just a moment on the next step in the process, right? So the first thing is you've contacted Kailash and his team, and they've helped you get started on your journey. They've helped you with your CGF&S credentials evaluation, NCLEX application, NCLEX prep program. Now, the next step in the process is also a very, very important step, and that is obtaining a job offer from a U.S. employer. I'm sure if you spend any time at all on the internet, or if you've made some inquiries about U.S. job opportunities, you're probably receiving many emails and other forms of electronic communication from different employers and recruitment organizations in the United States. I would like to point out just a couple of important things for you to consider as you start on this phase of applying for positions, and how is it that you try to determine which opportunity might be best for you and what is the best job offer. So let me just share a couple of things. We've done previous entire webinars just on this topic, but I'm just going to take a few minutes today and just touch on some of the high points of evaluating a job offer. This is obviously a very, very key part of the process, because what you will find is, regardless of the recruiting agency, regardless of who the U.S. employer is, they're going to be looking to you for some form of commitment to work for them for a certain period of time. U.S. employers and agencies are spending very, very significant amounts of money to sponsor an international nurse for immigration, including immigration attorney fees, generally filing fees, the fees of someone like our organization that is going to help manage and shepherd you through the whole immigration journey, relocation, airfare to the U.S., free housing for some period of time, as well as other resources that are necessary to have you be able to successfully relocate. So in exchange for those things, an employer is going to ask that you make a commitment to work for them probably for 3 years, maybe 2.5 years, maybe a little bit longer. So here's a couple of things for you to take into account. The first is, it is important that you understand whether the offer that has been presented to you is a direct hire position, or it is a staffing agency or contract labor position. These are the two most common models for international recruiting to the U.S. And while they are common, they are also very different. And it is for each candidate to decide which model may be best for them. In the direct hire model, the international nurse is hired directly by the facility that you will be working at. So, for example, if you were to be hired to work at Johns Hopkins Hospital here in the U.S., you would be a direct employee of Johns Hopkins Hospital, and the day that you arrive and start working, you would be on the Johns Hopkins payroll, receiving the same pay and the same benefits as every other similarly qualified nurse, both domestic and international. That is direct hire. In the direct hire process, you would also know at the time of your interview that you're being interviewed by Johns Hopkins for a position at Johns Hopkins. It's very clear. And you can decide, is this the type of hospital? Is this the type of community? Is this the type of clinical opportunity that I'm looking for? So that's in the direct hire model. Alternatively, you may be presented an opportunity by an organization that is a staffing agency or a contract labor provider. The main difference here is that you are not employed directly by the facility where you are working. You will be employed directly by the staffing agency. So in this case, it would be the staffing agency that sets your rate of pay, establishes your benefits. But most importantly, the staffing agency has the right, the contractual right, to determine where it is that you're going to be located. You may be located at Johns Hopkins, but by the time you get here, and if they have different needs and you need to be located instead of Johns Hopkins in Maryland, you need to be, they have an opportunity for you at a hospital in South Carolina, then they have the right to assign you to South Carolina rather, and you would be obliged to honor your commitment, because in a staffing agency offer, you're agreeing to having the staffing agency have the right to determine your final place of assignment, which usually is done very close to the time that you would be actually receiving your visa. So the first question that you need to be able to answer is this offer that is in front of me a direct hire model offer, or is it a staffing agency model? We have some great free information about this topic on our website. If you go to healthstaff.org, go to the applicant or candidate section, and you'll find some links there to some great information, how to evaluate your job offer, how do you determine which job offer may be best for you. Choose wisely. This is a decision that's going to really impact the rest of your life, so it's important to choose wisely. And part of choosing wisely also is not accepting necessarily the first opportunity that comes your way. I know it's very exciting when you're looking to get started on your immigration journey to have an employer that's interested in you. But if you are well qualified, you will find that there are more than one opportunity available for you. So under Choose Wisely, all right, under Choose Wisely, don't necessarily have to accept the first offer. And if an organization is putting strong pressure on you to say, we have this wonderful offer for you, but it's only valid for 2 days or 3 days, probably that's not the best opportunity, because you want to not be pressured in that type of way in making this type of important decision. And then just one other thing I would say, just real quick, Kailash, and I don't know if you've come across this, but we find this question come up very often, and it's around rate of pay. What is the rate of pay, right? If I sign up with you, what is the rate of pay? Well, the answer is, in our case, because we are just operating with the direct hire model, the answer to that question is it depends. And that is not an answer that is in any way wanting to evade providing a more specific answer. But the truth is, nursing salaries vary considerably across the United States. So in the United States, you have, of course, very large world-class cities that everybody has heard of. You have smaller cities, and you have smaller communities, and then even rural communities. And the cost of living varies tremendously between these different types of locations. And cost of living is the biggest contributor to what your hourly wage may be. Let me give just a quick example. So if you were being interviewed by an employer in New York City, right? Very famous. Everybody wants to be in New York, right? And maybe you get an offer.
Actually, Ron, let me correct you quickly. That is not the case in Nepal. They don't really want to go. A lot of nurses choose other states instead of New York.
Okay. Well, fair enough. What would you say would be one of the more popular destinations that Nepalese nurses would be interested in?
Oh, Texas. They're interested in Texas because a lot of Nepalese are there.
Okay.
And North Carolina.
Okay.
Then Pennsylvania also. A lot of them are interested. Ohio, right?
Yep.
And Virginia. States like these, and they are more interested. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you mentioned that, Kailash. Let me come back to that in a moment. Let me just quickly finish my example. It's an example, maybe if it doesn't apply directly, but we sometimes hear from nurses that say, well, my friend is a nurse and she got an offer for $42 from a hospital in New York City. And why is my offer somewhere else only $34 an hour? I want $42 an hour as well, right? Not an unreasonable question, but it's important to understand that different rates of pay will be available in different locations because of the cost of living. In New York City, in Los Angeles, in Chicago, in San Francisco, these are very large places, very exciting, sometimes for young people, but also these are the most expensive cities to live, the most expensive cities for housing, for transportation, for food. So yes, all of us want to earn as much money as possible. I'm pretty sure, I know I do. I'm pretty sure Kailash wants to earn as much as possible. And, so there's nothing wrong with that. But earning as much as possible is half of the equation. The other half of the equation is, what can you afford to purchase with the money you have in the location where you are located? It might very well be, and I would in fact suggest that if you were in our home location, we're coming to you from Charlotte, North Carolina today, that if you had an offer of $34 or $35 an hour in Charlotte, North Carolina, you would have a much better lifestyle, a much more comfortable standard of living than if you were in New York City earning $42 or $43 an hour. So again, under Choose Wisely, yes, you want to be earning a competitive rate of pay, but don't just get fixated on the hourly rate. Try and get some understanding of what the related cost of living is. And as you go into that evaluation through Kailash or through ourselves, we have more detailed information that we can provide, and we'd be happy to do so. Let me just quickly move on. And just say that in working with Kailash and working with WorldWide HealthStaff Solutions, we bring 25 years of experience. We've been doing direct hire international recruiting now for 25 years. We have a team now of almost 175 full-time staff members that are working directly for WorldWide HealthStaff, supporting our candidates. Look, we don't do magic, and we're not perfect, but we do have extensive experience. We do work hard every day. We pride ourselves in our commitment to doing our work in an ethical and honest way, and we always consider it a privilege when an international candidate entrusts us with their immigration journey. So we've talked about education requirements, how to apply for NCLEX, how to prepare for NCLEX, where you can take NCLEX, getting a job offer. Next question, English language tests. And because our time is going on, I'm going to just touch on this very, very quickly. There's a number of English tests that are available. Probably the most common are the IELTS test and the TOEFL test. And sometimes we're asked, which is the best English test for you? And the answer, again, depends. It depends on the state, primarily on the state where you hope to be employed, because different states have different English language requirements. Some accept only IELTS, some accept only TOEFL, some now accept the PTE, some don't. So in determining the English language test, don't just choose the one you think that's going to be easiest for you to pass now. You might want to take the one that's accepted by the most state boards of nursing, or the one that is specifically required by the State Board of Nursing where you want to be working, if you have a very clear preference as to where you want to be located. When to take the English language test? At WorldWide HealthStaff, we don't require that you take the test before receiving an offer or before your petition is being filed. But we do expect and do require that you will then take the English test very, very soon after a petition is filed for you. And to support our candidates in being successful in the English language testing process, we now provide English testing preparation for free. We have a great program. We have weekly online sessions. We have one-on-one coaching. And we provide that service for free, and we'd be very happy to provide more information about that. All right, now English tests taken. Now we're getting close to the finish line. The destination is in view. The next thing that's required is the visa screen certificate. This is also something that is obtained through the CGFNS organization. That's something that your WorldWide HealthStaff a case manager will assist you with, both in terms of supporting you with your application, counseling you and directing you as to the right time to apply. We find sometimes candidates wait too long to apply. They leave it too short before the time of their embassy interview. The visa screen is a document that you do need to present at your embassy interview. So applying in a timely way is important, and our team is here to help you with that. Most recently, we get many questions about this retrogression, right? The U.S. visa bulletin has come out, and it's indicated that the visa priority dates are no longer current for any country. So again, we do entire webinars on retrogression. In fact, if you go to the WorldWide HealthStaff YouTube channel, you will find recordings there of several recent webinars that we've done on the topic of retrogression. We've done one with immigration attorney Chris Musillo. We've done one recently with immigration attorney Michael Hammond. And we've got one planned again for late July, where we'll have several immigration attorneys speaking on what is the latest in retrogression. But just very quickly, what is retrogression? Retrogression describes the situation that happens when there are more visa applications in process than there are available visas in the current fiscal period. I could go into a lot of technicalities there, but basically, in short, retrogression happens when there's more visa applications in process than there are actually visas available to be issued. This causes a backlog in processing, and that backlog is referred to as retrogression. How will retrogression impact you? The answer again is it depends. It depends if you have a pending application. It will be impacted by what your priority date is, whether your priority date is before or after the current priority date. If your priority date on your existing application is before the current visa priority date, it'll have no impact on you. If your priority date is after the current priority date, it may have some impact on you. The reality is it's been taking more than 12 months to process a visa, even while the visa bulletin was current. So the fact that it's now backlogged 16 or 18 months is really not a big deal, because practically speaking, for many, many applicants, the process is taking that long in any case. So it is important. It is an issue that we're monitoring. And for those of you that maybe have not yet started your immigration journey to the U.S. and you're asking, is this the right time to start my application? The answer is absolutely yes, it is, right? Retrogression doesn't mean that nurses won't arrive. It only impacts the timing of their arrival. There's I forget to whom this illustration is to be attributed, but someone was asked, when was the best time to plant an oak tree, right? And the best time to plant an oak tree would have been 200 years ago, because now you would have this huge, majestic tree that would be providing shade and comfort, right? But what if you didn't plant an oak tree 200 years ago? And the question is, well, what's the best time to plant an oak tree now? The answer to that question is today, right? And it's the same answer for visa retrogression. The sooner you start, right? The sooner you start on your journey, the sooner you will arrive. That journey may be 12 months. That journey may be 18 months. That journey may be 24 months. But until you take that first step, you're never going to arrive. So the right time to start your application and to start your immigration journey to the U.S. is today, right? A year is a long time. 2 years is a long time. But in the context of your career, the span of your career, and your future and your future for your family, whether it's 1 year or whether it's 2 years or some other time, it really is a relatively short period of time. Kailash, would you have anything to add to that comment?
And I agree with you, Ron. We could move forward with the question and answer session. Yeah.
Yeah, good. All right. So thank you for the questions that have been coming in. I should also point out for everyone, if you look at the chat section on your screen, you'll see there's a yellow section there. We call it our Post-it note. And in that Post-it note, there's a couple of links. One is you can click on healthstaff.org, apply. So if you are ready to apply with us and you would like to begin a conversation with one of our recruiters about opportunities that might be available, you can submit your resume very conveniently just by clicking on that link. And moreover, we also have live recruiters on standby. So if you would like to online chat with one of our recruiters right now or right after this presentation, if you're joining us live, please feel free to click on the healthstaff.org WorldWide HealthStaff Solutions live chat link, and someone on our team will be available to respond to you in real time. So Tracy, thank you for monitoring our chat. I see you've been responding to some questions. But I know there's others, so I'm going to turn it over to you to guide Kailash and myself through some Q&A while we have a few moments remaining in our time today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Kailash. And I just want to thank you both for this presentation you've delivered today. And it's great to have you all joining us today. So I'm going to pull a couple questions. All right. I'm just going to start right here at the bottom of the chat. Do we need 2 years of experience to apply with WorldWide HealthStaff?
Yeah. So I'll take that question. I think the answer is 2 years of experience is certainly very, very beneficial. U.S. employers, one of the key things that they're looking for in evaluating international nurses is experience. There are a lot of new graduates here in the United States, but they don't have experience. So again, it's important. U.S. employers place a great importance on experience. We have some employers that will accept 1 year of experience, but please know the more experience you have and the more acute care experience you have, the greater the possibilities of not only finding an employer that will extend an offer to you, but it also gives you the opportunity to have more choices in terms of the clinical areas, the reputation and the caliber of the type of employer that might be interested in you. So is 2 years required? No, but it is preferred. The more experience generally, the better. But we will also entertain applicants in some cases with 1 year of experience.
Thank you very much. Next question. Just because I'm seeing a lot of retrogression questions, and we did cover a slide earlier on the topic of retrogression, I think it's helpful to still pose this question, and it's, does the visa retrogression affect Nepal nurses equally as other countries?
The answer is yes, it does. Now, there are a few countries that are even more adversely impacted, but these are countries that have had processing delays even before retrogression, primarily India and China. But the current retrogression applies to all countries and all nationalities equally.
Will having a priority date secure the place in line, will retrogression not affect someone who has a priority date?
Yeah, again, as I said, it depends on what that priority date is. If you currently have an application in process and that application has a priority date prior to the current visa bulletin priority date, then retrogression has no impact on you. If you have an application that's pending with a priority date that is after the current visa bulletin priority date, then it may impact you. And if you've not yet started an application, the retrogression will likely impact the total time that it will take. But I think, as the question properly stated, it's based on priority date. And the way you establish your priority date is filing a petition. Your priority date is nothing more than the date on which the USCIS receives your application. So the sooner you get an application in, the earlier your priority date will be, the sooner you will ultimately be able to arrive in the United States.
I would like to add one thing on this.
Sure.
The thing is, U.S. government, I would like to ask this question to Ron. U.S. government has a quota for the EB3 applications for each country. Is it correct or not?
That is correct.
Yeah, and for Nepal, they have never exceeded the quota, and Nepal has never exceeded 500 cases of EB3 visa granted every year. So does this not signal that Nepal is more there is more possibility for Nepal to be current in September?
Yeah. So logically, Kailash, what you say is correct. However, the way that the system works, and again, it gets a little complicated. But of the total number of visas that are available worldwide, okay, the total number of visas available worldwide, any one country or any one nationality is allocated up, they can use up to 7% of the total available visas. Okay. So for sure, Filipinos are using their 7%. People from other countries are using their 7%. Or even if they're using 5% or 3%, right? It doesn't take very many countries using 5%, just for simplistic, using 5% of the quota to get to 100, right? You only need 20 countries using 5% of the quota to reach 100. So while Nepal and other countries might only be using 1 or 2% of the quota available to them, other countries are fully utilizing their quota of 7%. Others are at 4 and 5%. So the system globally is likely to get to 100% utilization well before smaller countries like Nepal even get close to using their 7%.
So yeah, and what about those who have exceeded the 7%? They are not going to get current, right?
No. So the ones that regularly exceed 7%, they go into a retrogression that's even longer. So if you take a look at China, I think their retrogression now is back to 2018 or 2019. In India, the retrogression is back 11 years, right? I think they're now in 2012. And that's the result of them having many, many more applications than their 7% annual allocation.
So it's a good news for Nepalese nurses to start right now, right, Ron?
Yeah, Nepalese nurses are in as good a position as every other nurse, except for nurses in India and China who are worse off.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the information.
All right,
Tracy,
very good.
I see we're kind of coming up on time. We want to kind of keep to 1 hour. So we've got a few minutes remaining, Tracy. So let's take a couple more questions quickly.
Sounds good. And this one's going to relate to English language exam again. And while this question's specific, I think answering it maybe from a larger scale, a larger perspective, is a good way to approach it. And the question is PTE accepted for license endorsement, especially for Maryland?
Yeah. So that is a very good question. That's a very specific question to which I do not know the answer, honestly. But Tracy, if you could forward that question on to Carrie, and maybe we can either let's find a way of communicating that information back to this group. I'm not sure the best way.
As far as my experience, I think it is a mandatory IELTS or TOEFL.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks for that clarification, Kailash. So we believe that Maryland requires IELTS and will accept IELTS and TOEFL only. They will not accept PTE at this time. Okay. Next question, please, Tracy.
Next question. Do we need police clearance report from the countries that we have lived in more than a year?
The short answer is yes.
Yeah. Next question.
This is a question. So many nurse questions, but this one's about medical technologist. What about the medical technologist process and exam?
Yeah. So great question. We are very actively recruiting medical technologists. Tracy, maybe we'll have to do a separate webinar sometime just on medical technologists. Medical technologists actually have some advantages over nurses from an immigration perspective because they are not limited to one visa path. There's multiple different types of visas that MLTs can take. The MLT certification is also readily available around the world. So if you are an MLT and you are interested in furthering your career and living in the U.S., feel free to reach out to Kailash or feel free to reach out directly to us and we'll get you the specific details that you need.
Okay.
Let's do one more, Tracy, and then I'd like to wrap up just to be respectful of everybody's schedule.
Okay. Angel asked, what is the minimum work experience required to apply for North Carolina board? But I think this could also be, just asked as, what's the minimum work experience to apply?
Yeah. Again, our preference is to put candidates in the best position is to have 2 years of experience. If you have less than that, feel free to apply. We'll try to find an opportunity for you. Just the number of opportunities is likely to be less, and it may take longer and be more difficult to find an opportunity. But 2 years preferred. If you have less, please apply, and we'll consider your application on a case-by-case basis. All right. Well, Tracy, thanks for guiding us through some of those questions. I know there's others that we haven't been able to get to, and I apologize for that. Please feel free to reach out to either Kailash or myself directly. We had previously, and we'll just go back to it here quickly, our contact information. Kailash, just before we wrap up, any last comments or encouragements that you would share with those that have joined us today?
Yeah, so with our experience with WorldWide HealthStaffing Solutions, they have been great. They have a great team, and they are doing a great job of helping Nepalese nurses get great placements in the US. So if you are a qualified nurse, if you have 2 years at least work experience, if you are good in English, and if you want great placements in the US, I would definitely tell you to go through WWHS. I'll recommend WWHS. And regarding NPCN, If you join with us, then we give you guidance for everything, including free English classes and unlimited access to our dashboard system. I think that it is a good pathway for you to reach out to us and to WWHS to achieve your dreams in the US.
Very good. Kailash, thank you for that. Thank you for your partnership. Please keep preparing Nepalese nurses for passing the NCLEX, because we have many, many opportunities for them. We appreciate working with you as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Again, be looking for the email with a link to a replay of this presentation. Please continue to monitor our various social media channels, as we have different webinar topics virtually on a weekly basis. Feel free to register for those at any time. We look forward to being in contact with you. We would count it a privilege to be able to walk alongside with you on your journey to the U.S. Thank you again for joining us today. All the best. We look forward to being in contact with you again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.